Welcome to another day in the Matrix. This is Waters Above. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing a Gematria decode that sheds light on a recent event and exposes the importance of a significant date that's coming very soon. I'll also be going over the charts of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP to review the recent volatility in the market, do some technical analysis, and share a setup of what's to come next for this market. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, Numerology, and Astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious beings to help grow our community. And for those of you who are interested in learning how to decode using Gematria and would like to develop the skills so you can read the charts on your own, combining Gematria with technical analysis, or if you're seeking coaching for expanding consciousness, you can visit my website, watersabove.com, and check out my crypto mastermind or new expansion mastermind course available now. The link will be in the description box of this video or in the pinned comment below. And with that being said, let's take the clear pill. So, all of you are quite aware of this recent event that just happened. I don't need to remind you of such, but before we get into this, I just want to show you a deeper connection to something that's happened yesterday. So yesterday at 8:30 a.m., we saw a significant drop in the overall market. And if you actually look at your screen right here, while I hover over this exact time, you're going to see it says 666. And at exactly 8:30 a.m., Bitcoin dropped $666 at this exact minute. And this 83 connection to 8:30, and again, remember, I've been going over this for a while now, how the entire market operates in Eastern Standard Time, because that's the time zone of New York City or the stock exchange, and also the time zone of Washington, D.C., part of the unholy trinity of finances and global control as we know it between DC, the Vatican, and the City of London. But the entire stock market and crypto market and everything else, Forex, precious metals, etc., the only time that you need to pay attention to, no matter where you live in this world, is Eastern Standard Time. And we saw this drop happen at exactly 8:30 a.m., which is 83, or you could also mirror that number and you have 38. And we're going to get a little bit technical today in some of these decoding things as we break down what happened recently to Queen Elizabeth. But I just wanted to share how this drop happened at exactly this time and exactly $666. This is the Bitstamp chart, by the way, the 1 minute. And if you remember, I've given an alternative way of spelling the word Shemitah, and it is Shemitah. And we're seeing that 83 and 38 connection right there, just like this drop happened at 8:30 a.m. exactly. And it wasn't isolated to Bitcoin. Everything fell at this exact time. I believe over $1 trillion of market cap across the entire stock market was gone just in the last 24 hours. So yesterday was a huge volatile day, just like the day before the Queen's death was a very volatile day, but it was more bullish. So we're going to be getting into it as we go, but I just wanted to share that little tidbit of information before we move into the chart. But this date of the Queen dying is very significant, this being the 8/9 date, September 8th. And I wanted to let you all know, like, this is just the date they give us. Of course, this individual might not even be a real person. This is something that people need to get out of emotionally, because there's too much energy being harvested by this royalty and the monarch and all the people that are, getting happy about this recent event, or the ones that are getting sad. Because at the end of the day, you don't know this individual. They don't know you. They don't really care about you or your family. And they aren't even powerful at all. They just have the illusion of power through the people allowing this. And this is why I wanted to wait until we had some time pass. You all know me. I'm not hype with my YouTube releases. I try not to be just instantly putting out content because an event happened. I have a life to live, and I want to prioritize that life over this nonsense that happens on the world stage. But many of you have requested, so I'm breaking down the decode today of some of the tidbits of information that I've found. But For anyone who's been following my work for the past year, you're well aware that I've been talking about Platinum Jubilee, Queen Elizabeth, the connection to Pluto's return for the United States of America, and all of these connections back to Bitcoin cryptocurrency and the stock market, as well as the Shemitah. And this Shemitah year and the significance of it being exactly on Platinum Jubilee, because Platinum Jubilee was the 70th anniversary, as you can see right there, and the Shemitah is a cycle of 7 years. So, of course, she dies on the 22 year, and the Hebrew year that adds up to 5782, which is the 22, because she is the queen, the 22. And we'll be breaking this down more in a moment, but I wanted to preface with all that information before we go deeper, because it's important that you know where I stand on all of this. And my work and the purpose and significance of my work is to help people learn how to decode themselves and to be able to do it calmly and in a sophisticated way that you're not getting emotional towards this. And this is really the troublesome part of becoming a decoder and expanding your consciousness, is it tends to lead down a path of anxiety and depression and being angry at these people who don't know you, don't care about you, and all they do all day is siphon all your prana away with these energy harvesting rituals that they do, and these fake deaths and everything else that comes back to them. It's all about just getting your energy. So when you become a decoder, it's important that you remain in a state of neutrality, and this could allow you to see clearly and decode effectively. Decode without a sense of good and bad, or right and wrong, or evil and good. And this type of duality consciousness is something that's keeping people from becoming higher self. So let's get into this, because there are some amazing connections to be made. One of which, the date that she died being the 8-9 date, September 8th, or the 9-8, however you want to look at it, doesn't really matter. And she is considered the head of the Commonwealth. And you could see right there that in Chaldean, that's 9-8, September 8th. It's the exact position and death. And I showed you before, her position commonly is queen, and you're getting that 22, again, coming back to the Gregorian year of 2022, and this being Platinum Jubilee landing on the 5782 year, which is the 22, the master builder, master destroyer number. What's amazing also is that her death date was exactly 18 days leading into the end of the Shemitah. So you could see September 26th, that's a Rosh Hashanah, the Hebrew New Year. And we've been talking about this for a while now. So if you're unaware, please rewatch my older videos. It's important that you do, because you're going to be filled in on all this information for free. I mean, every week I'm coming out with a video. It's very long and very filled with decoding information, all coming back to pretty much this event. And it's amazing now that we're watching all of these events happen specifically this year. I'm sure anyone who's been following along by now, you're not surprised at all. So, of course, this is an 18-day span between the death and the Shemitah ending, because Shemitah equals 18 in Chaldean. So again, another connection. And what is 18? 18 is 6 plus 6 plus 6. And literally in a couple of hours ago, when you look at the grand scheme of things, we're seeing Bitcoin drop $666 within a single minute, exactly at 8:30. Unbelievable. I'm sure you all have many decodes you could also share, but you could see right there Shemitah giving you that 38. So we have Shemitah spelled both ways commonly after it's translated from Hebrew, both giving you these 38s and these 83s. It's absolutely amazing. So let's continue. Shemitah also equaling 70, and this was the deeper connection. 70 is because this is how many years she's been queen. So of course she dies in her 70th year, reigning as queen. We all should have known and expected this to happen this year. So she just celebrated the 70th year as queen with Platinum Jubilee, which again I've been talking about for a year, and even made a full decode for it called Platinum Jubilee Decoded, or the Jubilee Decoded. And that's over on my Patreon, which is a 2-part series, and it's a follow-up to a video that I made called Shemitah Decoded. It's again a 2-part series. I highly suggest anyone who's a Patreon supporter of mine to go back and rewatch those 2 videos again so you could see how this all unfolded. And if you're somebody who's interested in becoming a Patreon supporter, I really appreciate your support. It means a lot to me that you're supporting my art. And those 2 videos alone, I believe, will bring you so much value. They're both over 1 hour long, and they're packed with decoding information and sharing the setup for crypto and how I combined all of that decode and put it next to how I was expecting the markets to behave. So getting back to the word queen, you could actually see right there we have a 62 and we have a 26, and she celebrated Platinum Jubilee again on this date of February 6th. You could see that it rains starting on February 6th, and literally just in basic Gematria, you have queen equaling 26 and 62, which would be February 6th and June 6th. And remember, the June 6th date was the banking holiday of Platinum Jubilee. So this is amazing because I'm going to be showing you a connection here between that banking holiday and her death. And it's absolutely important because we've been seeing the 22 theme and the theme of the 2s this entire year because of the fact that we're in this 2022. And you guys know we entered the year of the tiger, the Chinese lunar year of the tiger, on February, which is allegedly our 2nd month according to the Gregorian system, which again, even that is a lie. But that aside, we have that 22. There's a 2's theme here, and it's very important that when you're decoding this year, you always consider the 2 and the 22. So if you take from this Platinum Jubilee banking holiday, which happened on the 6th 2 date of this year, and you compare it to 2 days before the queen died, you're going to see an amazing connection, which is 2 days before her death was the 9/6 date. And if you take that span of days from the banking holiday of Platinum Jubilee to the 9/6 date, you have 96 days, and she died at 96 years old, as you can see right there. Absolutely incredible how this was all coded in to happen at this exact time. So again, it doesn't matter if she actually died on this date. We don't know. Nobody knows. This individual could be a hologram for the last 10 years, and you wouldn't even know because the technology that they have is so sophisticated. And this individual isn't going to night parties in London. They hide underground. They never come out unless it's a very specific, pre-organized event. They don't even show their hands when they come out. I mean, these people are covered head to toe, looking like a zombie, like their skin is about to fall off their bodies. That's how, you could just tell they're not even living. It's amazing when you actually see it for what it is. But furthermore, because I know some people are going to contest, oh, it didn't happen on this. It doesn't matter. What matters is the numbers they give you, because the numbers they give you, you as a decoder can decode the exoteric so that you could find the esoteric and make your connections to project either out to the future, or you can see why certain events have happened already, giving more rhyme and reason to the fact that it was not necessarily what you think it is. Something deeper than that. And that's the beauty of Gematria Numerology and breaking things down the way that we're doing right now. So she also died right around or leading up to the harvest full moon. And I talked about this in my last decode that I shared, because harvest full moon was giving you that 201 in English ordinal. And she died allegedly at Balmoral Castle, which was in Aberdeenshire, Scotland. And I'm just going to show you right here this connection to Aberdeenshire and that 201 right there. You're getting that 201 again with where she died. And that 201, again, we could reduce it down to 21, which ties us back to Saturn. And I'm going to show you another connection, but you see that 21 there. And with harvest full moon, we're also getting this 69 connection. And we've been talking about this number all year, but you can see 69 right there. And you know that Queen Elizabeth is giving you 69. One moment. Queen Elizabeth giving you that 69. And we also have Saturn giving you that 69. And we've been talking about how she is Elizabeth, L coming back to that show Stranger Things 11, and how everything was tying back to Saturn and Jupiter. through the words, through the word spells. She's also considered the Princess of York. That's what she was born as. And York also giving you that 69. That's just a quick little note. But all of these 6 9s are a mirror of 96, which is the age she was at death. And remember, 69 is the current all-time high of Bitcoin. And I do not think that is by accident. That was pre-scripted to happen. So this also all ties back to that 21 and 201 theme that I was sharing you before. And the reason why is because we just passed the 21st anniversary of 9/11. Another thing that I've been talking about and preparing everyone for a long time now. So this 21 connection to 9/11 is really important that you remember that 11/9 and the 9/11, because she was considered the Princess of York. And I'm going to show you really quickly just the depth of this code, giving you the 119, Princess Elizabeth of York, before she became queen. So this is amazing to see these connections now. And another thing is, from when the WHO declared the pandemic on March 11th of 2020 until her exact date of death, it equals 911 days. And I'm sure some of you have already made that connection already, because that's a really significant date. But let me just show you really quickly this connection. 11 March 2020 to the day of death being 911 days. Her name before becoming queen, Princess Elizabeth of York, giving you that 119. And this connection goes even deeper, since she had her platinum jubilee, which was 70 years as queen. And we all know there's a theme for the number 70. This year is the Shemitah year, and Shemitah equaling 70. And if you go 70 days after her death, this is where we're going to start to see some interesting things. So I'm going to go to 9/8/2022, and we're going to go to 70 days after her death. We're going to see something important here. This is the 11/17 date. And look at this right here. This is 70 days apart, and the theme being the 70 years as queen, which ties back to Platinum Jubilee. And this landing on a 70 date numerology. And if you look up this date, 11/17, this was the first date that we ever got for the C word on Wikipedia regarding Wuhan. Look that up. It is amazing. This happened in 2019. 11/17 is the official first date that we get ever concerning the C word. So this date would be the 3-year anniversary from that first event. And 3 years is 36 months. And the queen died in the 36th week of the year, in this week right here. And 3/6 is 3 6s, which ties back to 666. Very important. And not only is this span of days a total of 70 days, which I just shared, but we also have that numerology connecting to 70, which again ties back to Shemitah, 70. Now, this is where it gets absolutely wild. If you take from the day she became queen, which was February 6th of 1952, and we're going to see, if we take from this new date that I discovered, which I showed you how I discovered this date, just using the code of 70 and have the confluence of multiple 70s, and I go from the exact date that she became queen, and you could find this right here, the reign, February 6th of 1952, you're going to see two very important numbers we've been talking about, 70 and 9/11. So this date is very important, guys, and I want you to write down this date, and I'm showing you the way that I found it, the decode here, and what it's all coming back to. So of course, if you just took this date from the year of 2022, you're only going to end up with 9 months and 11 days, the 9/11. So we have the 70 and the 9/11 together, giving you 9 months and 11 days from her platinum jubilee start, the 70 year. So after looking further into this date of 11/17, I'm also seeing a theme of the number 44. And you can see that right there, where it's the day leaving 44 days left in the year. This is also 40 weeks plus 4 days, and November 17th, again, giving you that 44 days left in the year. And Queen Elizabeth died at Balmoral Castle. I just want to show you this connection. I'm going to have to type it out. giving you that 44. So that was where she died, allegedly. And I already showed you the connection here, coming back to this exact date with that 44. So that could definitely be a connection. And that 44 number being a power number. And I've perceived this number as 4 coming back to the Hebrew 4, which is dalet, which means door. And we know doors have 4 corners. We know windows have the 4 corners. So it's kind of like the option between going into 2 directions. Do you want to go this way? Do you want to go that way? And that 44 is a signal to you of a choice needs to be made. And this again could be symbology for the world turning, the world changing in a sense. And we've seen that this 2022 year being a Shemitah year and Platinum Jubilee and Pluto's return and everything else is definitely a pivot year. And I believe it's a pivot into the year of 2023, which will be the official biblical Jubilee. So I looked into this 44th week of the year because I just got curious because of our 44 connection. And if you go to that 44th week of the year, you're going to see something amazing. This is literally the week in between the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse that we've been talking about this entire year. So this is going to be a very interesting week. And what did I just say? The 2 doors. So you have the door of the solar eclipse and you have the door of the lunar eclipse. And that's going to be that transition. And you guys are aware of this, and many people have no idea. All of these codes that are coming back to this celebrity death are actually giving us little breadcrumbs of evidence along the way. So some final notes about this whole event going to Platinum Jubilee. We're going to be showing you there's a theme of the color purple. And this purple is for the crown chakra, which is the 7th chakra. Well, the 7th chakra in the system that they give you. I mean, if you really wanted to get deep, there's a lot more chakras, but just playing with the ones that they give us, of course. This being the 7th chakra and the 7 for 70 or the 7 for Shemitah. And even 7th is very important because the way that word is spelled out in English, it gives you that 93. And that 93 again ties to Saturn with the 93. And that was... that we're also getting that 6-9. I mean, but 7th also gives you 96, which was the age that she died at, and 33, multiple 33s for transmutation, talking about a change of state from one type to another type. This is amazing. This is a ritual of grand proportions, and I imagine the masses are giving so much of their energy to it right now. For you, you must protect your prana because you're aware of this information. So let's get to this in another way. 7th chakra even giving you this 47. And that 47 is the 15th prime number, as you can see right there. And if you actually copy this whole thing, Platinum Jubilee of Elizabeth II, thinking about this 15 theme that I just shared, 47 being the 15th prime number, this Platinum Jubilee of Elizabeth II giving you 105 in the same cipher, the 15 in numerology. And both of these actually have the 135. So you can see 135 in 7th chakra and 135 in Platinum Jubilee of Elizabeth II. And I don't like copying these whole things and decoding with all these extra words, but it's literally the name of the Wikipedia title that we're getting for this very important event that just happened. And now we could confirm how important it is because of the death being in the same year. So this 15 significance that I'm sharing with you is because it comes back to the tiger. And we're in the year of the tiger, which was right around the start of Platinum Jubilee, as well as Pluto's return. So the next important date that I'm paying attention to personally is September 19th. And it's funny because I released this information ahead of time and my Patreon supporters actually informed me of this being the Queen's burial date. And I didn't even know it until after I shared my decode in the last Red Pill podcast I posted this past weekend. So I just posted a Red Pill this past Sunday and it was exposing the 19th of September, and the reasons why I was getting this 19th September date, I'm going to show you. It had nothing to do with her burial. It actually had to do with a connection to the Shemitah, and I'm going to show you why. So this is exactly 7 days until the end of the Shemitah, the 7-year cycle. So we have the 7, the 7, this being a 70, this being a 77 date numerology. This is all about those sevens. But what was really special about this particular date is the fact that both date numerologies, 70 and 25, comes back to Shemitah, giving you 70 and 25 in the same. Wow. I mean, this is a wild date, guys, because it's the last week of the 7-year cycle coming to fruition. We also have that 38, and we talked about that 38 earlier in the decode. But this date of the 19th of September will be in the 38th week of the year. It'll be starting out the 38th week of this year. I mean, how insane is that? And we were talking about the 83 in one of my recent videos, and the number 83 is the 23rd prime number, 23 is the 9th prime number, and 9 is the number that represents everything. And she went through 10 cycles of Shemitah. So if you think of the symbolism here, her last 7 years, which will be 63 years as queen, which again, that's funny because that's the mirror of 36, which is 3 sixes, 666. But the next Shemitah, which was 70 total years, she's lived through 10 sabbatical year cycles as queen. Think about this. When you think of the numerological significance, on her 63rd, that would have been 9 cycles. Then 9 is the number of essentially completion. When she moved into the 10th cycle, which is the 70th year, she passes away. That would be a restart of the numbers, the 1 and the 0, or the binary code, which is computer programming language. Absolutely incredible as we move into this digital age of transhumanism. So this specific date also, let me just share one more thing. It leaves 103 days left in the year. And that 103 is important because it ties back to Mercury. And Mercury, of course, having to deal with the fiat system and commerce regarding our discussion around crypto and all of that, of course. There's obviously a deeper meaning here to Thoth, but we don't want to go there right now, just to keep things simple. This 23 connection also comes back to the date numerology of the Queen's death, being that 23, which again, that's the 9th prime. And I just shared the significance of that cycle moments ago. So one interesting note to make from the date that I'm sharing with you right now, the 19th, 7 days before the end of the Shemitah. And if you go over 70 days, which we were playing around with this, this date will be the 28th of November. Think about how important this date is, the 28th of November, because this is the date leaving 33 days in the year. You also see that 18, just like she died 18 days before the end of the Shemitah, and Shemitah giving you 18 in Chaldean cipher. And the bigger connection here is we are using the theme of 70. Look, this date that I found is 70 date numerology, 70 days over, and we're getting the date that leaves 33 days left in the year, which is also the transition date into the 333rd day of the year, which has a 19 date numerology, just like the world recently shut down for 2 months, 2 years, and around 2 days for the C word 19. It was all a play-by-play repeat ritual of what happened in Spanish flu. And that's another thing that I revealed to people over a half a year in advance before it came to fruition. That's why right around May of this year, we started to see all of the world ease up on C-word restrictions. That was a thing that I was assuming would happen, and it happened around that exact same time. By June, we saw most of Europe reopen. I mean, what a scam. What a scam. So last thing I'm going to mention about the same time frame into November is if you take from the date that Bitcoin hit its all-time high, which I'm going to show you in a moment, this was the 10th of 2021, 11/10, the day that Bitcoin hit 69,000, which was the 314th day of the year, which is pi 3.14. And if you go 314 days into the future, you're actually going to see where it ends up. So you see how I'm decoding this whole episode, guys. Like, I'm really sharing these repeat number connections because I want you to see how this goes. So again, this was the date Bitcoin hit 69,000, just like the Queen died at 96 years old. And this 1110 connection, 314th day of the year, you go over 314 days and look at where we're landing. One day after the burial of Queen Elizabeth. So I found this date of the 19th literally almost by accident, where I was taking that 70 and 25 connection to Shemitah, and then I started to see it all unfold. So this also, the 18th, will be 44 weeks and 4 days after the Bitcoin all-time high. Just another note to make. But remember I was talking about 11-9 and 9-11 connections? Well, she's getting buried at St. George's Chapel, Windsor Castle. Let me see if I could find exactly where that information is. So when I take this, again, we're talking about 9-11 and 11-9. You can see there's a huge connection here with this place that the burial's happening at, which is giving you 322 for skull and bones. And remember, George Bush, who's a famous bonesman, was the president during 9/11. 9/11 also happened during a Shemitah year. And I made a whole video talking about that. Year of the Moon Key. I was talking about the moon and the lunar eclipse and all those rituals coming back to the monkey year, which is going to be the next Shemitah year was that 2029, 2028, 2029. So if you take my key date of September 19th, which we've been talking about, let me get to this date for you. If you go from this date and then you take it to the next lunar eclipse of 11/7, which another date that we're really, really paying attention to, you get 1 month and 19 days. The 9/11 backwards. So this November eclipse is so important, everyone, but I really want you to consider this date of September 19th as a date of energy harvesting ritual that I believe will be of epic proportions. Again, we do know that it's the date of the burial, but this is going to be multifaceted. And it's about, 10 days before the next, the next new moon? So even less, if you look at the next new moon being the 25th, that'll be leading into the 26th, which of course is Rosh Hashanah, the final day of the Shemitah. It's going to be an interesting couple weeks. I mean, it's been, like I've said, it's been crazy lately. So let's get into some of the TA. I don't want to make this video crazy long. I went over the $666 drop, and now I want to review some of the TA that I shared with you guys in my last couple of videos. So, I mean, it was amazing, this trend line that I've been talking about for a long time now. You can see the last Shemitah coming into this red trend line. We have the all-time high of 2017. C crash happens right into the trend line. Then you can see we have recently come back to the trend line and lately trading perfectly weekly candles for the last 4 weeks on that trend line. This is like one of the greatest trend line finds of my entire time doing technical analysis. Let's go over to this chart because I made a video on this date right here, September 8th. I literally made the video, released it, and within minutes, the Queen news came out. It's pretty wild, the timing of that. So I came out with this video and I shared this falling wedge pattern. You could see it right here. So I shared this falling wedge and I wanted to get that out to everyone before a breakout was imminent because I assumed we were going to hit those throwback levels that I've been sharing with you guys for over a month. So I've been sharing with you guys these two lines here and this parallel channel. I didn't even delete this parallel channel because I told you guys I'm not going to remove it. I want to keep it until I see us gravitate back towards it. Because even though we fell out of the pattern, it is very normal for us to throw back into the outside of what was support and it could become a resistance. And look at what happened. Over the course of that last video I made, and one more thing to mention, I said that this pattern here, this falling wedge, was a bullish breakout pattern. And the next day we see Bitcoin go up 10%. It's incredible how that all was timed. So I prepared people for this. We have a bullish pattern with a bullish breakout. I shared the targets all in advance, and we came up perfectly into the apex right here between this horizontal line, which was around 22.6K, and the outside of this parallel channel, closed below it, got a rejection, and came right back down. Okay? So this was an incredible thing to watch. September 8th breakout into this September 13th correction. It's all pretty much, noticeable by now that this was just a quick pump and dump ritual. But we'll be breaking it down a little bit more. Do you guys find it interesting how I released the video on the 8th and we see the movement up on the next day? Literally, we're getting $21,000 Bitcoin into the 21st anniversary of 9/11. Remember when I shared that Bitcoin would hit the 46K level into the 46th birthday of Satoshi Nakamoto? I shared that with you guys like probably 4 or 5 months in advance, and it literally came to fruition right there on the 46th birthday of Satoshi Nakamoto. I just want to make people remember, these videos, even though I'm not coming out with them frequently, I'm giving people a lot of information ahead of time. I'm preparing you, and I just want to stand ground there because there's so many gems dropped in these. So much. And I know the videos are longer, people have short attention spans, but it's like coming to school when you watch these videos. There's a lot of information, a lot of data. You should probably be taking notes by now because we're seeing how this stuff's playing out. I'm doing it to help, really. And these videos are for free on YouTube. You can watch them whenever you want. So please be paying attention to this stuff because when we're seeing these patterns breaking out and these targets being hit on these exact same time frames, there's something to be said about that, okay? So we're seeing the 21st anniversary of Bitcoin hitting 21K on this exact date, and then we're seeing, and remember, there's 21 million Bitcoin in supply. Saturn in Gematria equals 21. Satoshi Nakamoto is Saturn. Been talking about this for a while now. So the breakout was officially on the 9/9 date, and then we have a drop of 9.9% yesterday. And that 99 comes back to Jupiter. And we know that there's been a battle between Jupiter and Saturn this year. Jupiter being the striped planet, which connects back to the tiger. So let's get to the technicals. Bitcoin actually closed below all the key moving averages yesterday. So you can see right there, these are our key EMAs. We closed below all of them. That's a sign that this was an overreaction to the stock market. And they came out yesterday, the stock market got hammered on CPI bullshit. So here we are today. We're getting a little bit of balancing on this whole fractal of closures that we got. If you go from this closure right here on the 26th all the way over 11 straight days, this is the same level that Bitcoin has come to backtest. So this would be a short-term micro support, and we're just backtesting those levels until Bitcoin actually closes a daily below 19.5K. We're probably going to hold this structure, potentially even have a bounce out of it very soon, leading into the end of the month, which is the new moon. So structurally, it would be ideal for Bitcoin to hold 19.5 on the downside. And if we cannot, and we close below that, the next natural level is going to be right here, around 18.7 to pretty much filling the wick down at 17.8. And because we've come back so dramatically to the 18.5K region and bounced from there, that's a sign that this is a very strong support at exactly 19,000. So Bitcoin holding daily closes above 19,000 is really, really crucial for this time, just because it keeps testing it. And any technical analyst knows the more you test the support, you're bound to break through it. And then you'll have a buy wall somewhere down here, and we really don't know where those are going to come in. In my opinion, this wick fill is still in the cards, and the next bigger move for Bitcoin is either going to be a dramatic rally or a dramatic crash because we're so close to the end of the Shemitah. For me, I'm timing it to be more around the eclipse of November, the lunar eclipse. And I've already given my information about the 1973 stock market and the similarities that I'm getting, and how I do anticipate there's a possibility that we get relief one last time before we see the whole market really roll over. And I mean, we can just tell, the stock market is ridiculously bouncy right now. It's so volatile. This was amazing yesterday. We had a glitch on the DXY where it dropped completely to zero, which was 108. Think about that number, guys. That's the number of spiritual completion. A 100%, it just glitched, went completely out. It's really interesting. Because if we have a crash in the market, you anticipate this number to shoot up. But I love how it's a TradingView glitch, of course, because this is the other DXY and it's operating just fine. There's no problems at all. There's been nothing, but I just find that really interesting how TradingView had that glitch at exactly 108. The number of spiritual. The DXY ascended, everyone. It entered the new age 5D, whatever nonsense bullshit they're selling on people nowadays. The DXY did it first. It did it before you could. Oh, man. All right. So let's wrap this up. We have a 3-day closure, and what I would personally like to see for continuation for Bitcoin, because I did share this idea of holding support, potentially even bullish continuation. There's a clean W that I'm seeing forming. The W has a neckline around 24.5K. So you could see this W, and I would like to see a 3-day close above this 34 exponential moving average. That'd be the first time Bitcoin closing above that all the way since April. Okay, literally right around Satoshi Nakamoto's last birthday. So I would like to see a close above this 34 exponential, and then keeping above this neckline, which is 24.5, and we could have a bullish breakout. And let me show you like a measured move concept here. And it would be somewhere like this. It's going to look messy. I'm sorry, but this is how it's going to have to be for right now while I'm on this chart. So that could literally take you to 33, 34K, and that would be right within the 888 Fibonacci level, which is very key because if you see going over here, this is a huge cluster of trading. So let me show you a horizontal line, and it's going to make sense why this could be a possibility, 33 to 34K. So let me turn off this, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. So let me make this a different color. And boom, white. So you see right here, there's a lot of support. When Bitcoin broke out for the first time, really into early 2021, back testing this area, traded up here for many months, came back down, traded again to a new all-time high, came back down to this exact level, and then once it finally broke through that level is when we headed for one leg lower. So this would not be weird for us to have broken through, then come back up, back test the 34K level, and then roll over one last time. That also we're seeing with that W breakout concept that I'm sharing right here, which is a huge W because it's a W that's forming going all the way back to June and could potentially be in play until I would give it October 25th. I would really give it to the end of October. That's just because that's the lunar eclipse, and because Bitcoin runs with the solar energy, that's when it's bullish. That would not be weird to see that final move before rolling over into the lunar eclipse when that energy gets severed. And, I shared all my information behind that. So that's my play. And that would be amazing if it was exactly 137 days from the break, because 137 is the 33rd prime number. So imagine Bitcoin coming up to 37K right around, 33K around 137 days since this fall, and that being 33 connection. So let's move on to Ethereum. There's something to be said about this for sure. So this is another one where I shared the throwback level, and we literally played out perfectly. We came back, tested this white trend line, popped up, and now we're actually holding stronger than Bitcoin. So I think this looks amazing. The continuation of higher lows, structure looks fine. Closes above 1800 would definitely be ideal for continuation, and downside closes below 1420 would lead to a wash down to 1270. So think, if we hold this level right here, we could definitely come back, bounce one more time, and have a W play out, or we can have an M pattern play out and a move down to this 12.7, and that would just be back testing this W pattern over here. That would be the next natural level to the downside. But remember this white trend line that I shared with you guys? It played out beautifully. We saw this back test on the 7th, popped back up, and now we're still holding above that wick level. So this is very strong. So until we break below that level, I'm not really concerned. And as long as we're holding this white trend line, things are looking fine. We're really coiled up around this yellow line that I've kept on the chart now for a while. It's just liking to gravitate down to that. This could potentially be like an inverse head and shoulders play as well, with a breakout even higher than the local high at $2,000 psychological resistance. So keep that in mind, guys, because I'm paying attention to this white line, but I'm also paying attention to a W pattern, which is right here. And that W pattern could be pretty incredible. We would need a close above 1800 for that to happen, though. So keep 1800 in mind. I'm just going to draw a line like this, and I'm going to put it on my chart up here to make it nice and easy for me. That way I don't have to think about it. That's all. So this W pattern would definitely lead to a pretty substantial move for the entire altcoin market, at least the altcoins that have higher market cap. Let's get to XRP. So this is something that I shared in my last red pill. Mind blowing how I shared this triangle pattern right around here. And we came up into it and got rejected and perfectly coming back down now. So this is a very crucial resistance level, and this triangle has a breakout opportunity somewhere into 49.50 cents to the upside, or on the downside potential below into 23 cents. So that 22-23 connection for XRP is so important, because I'll just show you really quickly. XRP giving you 22 and 23. We know we're in the Hebrew year of 5782, which adds up to 22, and on the date of the 27th of this month, we're going to be entering Jubilee and the start of the Hebrew year 5783. And 5783, of course, gives you 23, which I shared my connections earlier. So that would not be weird for me, because we're getting the 23 also with the Gematria of XRP right there. And that on the downside would not be weird. Now, I would be, we can see Bitcoin go up. And if Bitcoin goes up, then I would suspect we're going to have our breakout to 49. 49 is a very important number, because that's 7 squared. 7 sevens, which Jubilee is on the 50th year after 7 cycles of Shemitah. So I think XRP is playing a huge role in this, because XRP is tied to Jupiter. And I've been sharing that for a long time now. That's why I follow XRP so closely, not just because of the ISO 2022 connections. So this play out is all I'm paying attention to with XRP. All the other analysis is unnecessary, because this is so boring. It's chopping in this pattern. Again, no offense, like that's not to offend anyone. It just is what it is. It's boring. There's lots of chop. It's not really chosen a direction yet, but I see this pattern. This pattern is beautiful. It's very clean. We're seeing all these daily closes below this trend line. Even over here on these wicks that we got, we still closed below them. I like to look at the daily closes. So this is perfect. Holding this bottom side support level is very important as well. And we could definitely have one more bounce and move up. And if I was to, take this and consider the breakout target, we are like days away. I would like to put it maybe around here to the apex, giving you somewhere around 129 days. And if I take 129 and multiply it by 75, we're going to be getting 96 days off of the same level. That's giving us, like, we're past it, man. We're really ready. This needs to move soon. That's about average 75% into the apex is when you see your breakouts. So this is really, and we've been anticipating this, because there's been nothing to cover on XRP until I saw this pattern developing. And I'm thinking about the overall market. It would be likely that we get a move into this trend line rejection and then come down to the 23 level, fulfilling both targets. And then you have your complete cycle where we've come and back tested these lower levels right there one last time. You could see the way I drew that. Okay, so that's the play. I'm going to leave it at that. Super long video. I was going to hold off on making that Queen decode, but I wanted you guys to get that information to just ground the community, ground everyone, and recenter yourself back into yourself. Don't get lost in the sauce with all this theatrics with the royal family and all that stuff. Protect your prana, and you guys are decoders. You know what's going on. Again, I do have those 2 videos over on Patreon at patreon.com. It is part 1, the Shemitah Decoded, and part 2, the Jubilee Decoded. I appreciate anyone who supports my work. If you join that membership, you're also going to get access to my entire live stream archive of Friday Hangouts, as well as Discord access. And you'll also be getting all of my Red Pill episodes. This upcoming weekend will be Red Pill episode number 77. It's perfectly timed. I mean, I can't believe it. I started my Patreon back in like March of 2021. Who would have known that the week before the end of the Shemitah, I'd be releasing episode 77 leading up to Rosh Hashanah, which has the 77 date numerology. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You know, it's really incredible how the code follows me, and I'm sure the code follows you. So I'm wishing you all a beautiful rest of your day. I appreciate every single one of you. Much love.